Foxy, am I invisible?
No, you are just stupid.
Kizzies. Aw, yeah. Hey. Hey there, Net Best Buddies, and welcome back to the channel. As always, I'm Ray. Foxy's down in the corner down here. And today we're going to be talking about Tolkien. So Tolkien is the fantastical biopic of J.R.R. Tolkien, the guy who wrote The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings, all the supplementary content that comes with that fantasy world. And he's absolutely one of my favorite authors. There's a lot of biopics coming out now, and I had a lot of fun with this one, especially with the sort of fantasy elements spliced into it. But before we begin, definitely go down and subscribe so you can stay up to date with all the content that I do put out. And my question in this video is, are there any strong memories that you have from a movie experience? I can still remember when I saw the first Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. I went to the theater with my grandmother. We were very confused when the movie just sort of ended, and we went home and talked to my mom, and she's like, oh, it's part of a trilogy. And I can remember going with my dad and my uncle and my cousin Kevin, and we saw The Return of the King, and that, at least in my memory, was in like a converted opera house. So it was like a massive movie theater. It was really cool. And I can also remember when me and Eric had to leave my hash browns behind because we were going to be late to go see The Desolation of Smaug. So yeah, let me know down in the comments what are some of your favorite movie memories. A young boy obsessed with language meets a group of friends, forming a fellowship to push each other creatively through good times and bad, going on to create one of the most beloved fantasy worlds ever known. So I thought Nicholas Hoult did a great job as the titular author, and I really liked seeing his growth and development over the different stages of his life, and I thought he really encapsulated Tolkien's love of history and of language really well. Lily Collins I thought was really good as Edith, and she had a great chemistry with Nicholas Hoult, which is kind of important. And I also thought that, including Hoult, all the actors who portrayed the boys that would create the Fellowship did a great job. They had a great camaraderie amongst each other, and it was really cool seeing them grow throughout the years and support each other. Also, Owen Teale is in the movie, and it was really cool seeing him after Game of Thrones. It did take a little while for the movie to grab me, but right around the time when Tolkien is sent off to his boarding school where he meets his friends that he would form such great bonds with was when the movie really kicked in for me. And I don't think that's just because it felt like Hogwarts. The movie does feel rushed at some moments, especially the ending, I thought. And there are some story beats that are kind of brought up and then just abandoned really quickly. And that was kind of weird. It felt a little disjointed at points. The absolute highlight for me throughout the movie were the different elements, such as the music or some shots, or just other things that were either influenced by Lord of the Rings, the movies, or that showed where influences for the Lord of the Rings books came from. It's a little tricky because it's a biopic that seems to take reference for some things from the pre-established franchise that the real-life events help to influence. So it's like a closed time travel loop of influence. It's weird. An easier way for me to explain this, I guess, is that, and again, I don't know how accurate this is to real life, but in the movie, Tolkien has to go and find one of his friends from the Fellowship because they all get sent to war. Bless you. And he has to travel across, like, I think No Man's Land, and it's real dangerous, and it's a hard journey for him because he's sick, and the soldier that helps him is named Sam, so I'm guessing that's where Samwise Gamgee came from. But again, I don't know how accurate this is, but that was a cool little nod to the books or the movies that were influenced by the real life that this is allegedly, showing us. It's still confusing. I mentioned this a little earlier, but I did really like how they took some of the fantasy elements and put them into the real life events of the biopic. I thought that was a really interesting choice, and it's something that we're going to see with, I think Rocket Man's taking a similar approach when that comes out. I didn't get to go see the early screening, but I do know some people weren't all for it because they just wanted a straight biopic, but I really like this sort of twist on the genre. Some examples of this would be Tolkien peeks over into No Man's Land and sees a dragon spewing fire, and he's terrified by it, and then it immediately snaps back to what's really going on, and it's a bunch of Germans lighting up flamethrowers into the trenches that he has to escape. And speaking of those war scenes, it was really cool seeing Sauron in the actual, battle going on That was really cool. I liked that. And the last thing I want to touch on, and I know it's just easy fan servicey bonus points that I'm giving this movie, but I loved seeing the moments where Tolkien is starting to establish the Middle-earth world, where he's creating the language, or he's literally saying Middle-earth, or even the moments when he's writing some of the books and you see the words on the pages. It's absolutely fan service, 100%, and I ate that up. So even with the flaws in the film, if you love the work of Tolkien and the worlds that he has created, I think you will really get a lot out of this movie. Tolkien gets a 7 out of 10. So Tolkien's not really the type of movie that I would just go and see on a whim. I'm definitely glad I had the AMC A-list pass or whatever it was, because I got to see this movie, which was cool, and I saw some trailers for other movies that I thought looked really cool too, like, what's it called? Blinded by the Light, with the immigrant who's in Britain when he's younger, and he's thinking like Bruce Springsteen is like talking to him. That looks cool. I'm excited for that now. Also, not a sponsor for the program, because one, I'm not big enough to get a sponsor, and two, I just really like, you know, paying $20 a month and going to see 3 movies a week. So that's my review for Tolkien, guys. It was pretty fun. I really enjoyed it. As always, thanks for making it to the end of the video. It means a great deal you continue to watch the videos that I put out. Like I said at the beginning, definitely go down, subscribe so you can stay up to date with all the content that I do put out. Give the video a like, share with a movie-loving friend, and, you know, let me know some of those great movie moments that you can remember. Thanks for watching, everybody. See ya.